to be successful in NFL. And I say this, like the Redskins. I think the Redskins, they get them a couple linemen in the draft. I think they'll do all right. I'm not giving up on RG3. I think he's just a couple linemen away to getting back to his successful rookie season.
Just so I looked up Mike Mayock's his mock stuff right now. All of his mock picks. They don't have a by team selection, but going to your offensive tackles, it was T.J. Clemens is number one out of Pittsburgh, Andrus Pete from Stanford, and then Layel Collins from LSU is what
Okay.
I see.
Yeah, that's I know those two guys will do big things.
Then you have Flowers from Miami, Cedric Agbui from Texas A&M, and
Okay.
DJ Humphries from Florida. So I don't know. I thought it was interesting that Cleveland would be going wide receiver. You familiar with the kid White from West Virginia at all? Did he get on your radar this past year?
Yeah, speed guy, speedster kind of guy. Um, West Virginia. See, I'm not. They run a lot of that spread and
That system
that
stuff,
system that UC Bearcat. Uh,
matchup,
yeah, I don't get. Man,
that matchup football.
I'm not drafting that kid. I'm not saying he's not a good player. He probably is a great player, but I just don't like. I want a kid that line up in that pro style offense, and you know what I'm saying, playing against cover two, can get open and make some plays. That's what I need. I don't like that spread kind of offense, but we'll see. We'll see.
Okay. Um, that's kind of any other NFL stuff you want to get through.
Um, nah. The thing about it is, we've been talking about a lot of this basketball and stuff that nature, but football's definitely near and dear to everybody's heart. And as we get closer to the combine and get to the draft and free agency, we're gonna have a lot to talk about. And I'm really excited. It's like, to me, it's kind of a down period. We talk in NBA, but once that NFL gets started, it's great, man. The sports bars are happy. The sports reporters are happy, and I can't wait till it takes back off again.
Got you. We know. Oh, I won't even go into the Cowherd. His analogy for what football is, but I mean it drives the sports calendar. And I'm gonna work hard to get us a couple of unexpected contributors as we get to the combine, out of the combine and in the draft. I got some calls and text messages out there. Um, we didn't have time. I was traveling this week and didn't get a chance to follow up on some things. But I think we're gonna try to take it to the next level for some of the more in depth, um, draft talk, combine results and whatnot. But we'll get to that. Um, we're gonna try to. So before we get into a little bit of entertainment, here it is, week 3. We're 2 weeks past the Super Bowl, and one of my favorite sports underneath football is that boxing game, that sweet science. So here we are, man. It's still no Pacquiao Mayweather announcement. You had some. You had mentioned earlier before we kicked off the first one that the networks hadn't agreed on things. You frustrated, or you just moved on, or where you at?
Nah, man. I think we had a side conversation once, and I'm very frustrated. Because it's holding up all the other the boxing matches that is coming down the pipeline. And I think you said it to me, like I said a few weeks ago. It's ridiculous, man. I'm tired of this because they may say it's the networks or Showtime, HBO can't agree. I don't know what it is, but I do know this as a man. If you go to your team and be like, I want to fight this guy no matter what, it'll get done, won't it? I mean, I'm thinking I'm not as good and as up on boxing as you are, but if you go to your team as a boxer and say I want to fight this guy, doesn't the fight usually take place?
Correct. And I mean, and I think Manny has come out there in several different outlets and said I want this fight. I guess this week he's he's put out there on social media that he's beginning training for a huge fight. And then I saw as late as yesterday that he does expect the fight to be made. But then I look on the other side of that, and Mayweather is negotiating trips to New Zealand or Australia or something. So it doesn't seem like his heart is in it. But I know Floyd holds the cards and all of this, and he wants to roll it out the way that he wants to roll it out. Maybe he wants to downplay the significance of the fight. I don't know. We don't have to spend a lot of time on it, man. I just thought we'd get a quick update on where we were with it. I think May 2nd is not really solidified yet. As far I know, Canelo and Kirkland are scheduled to get it on. I think in Texas, and Golden Boy projected that could do about 60,000, probably in Jerry's world. I think is where they targeted. Really quickly, just Khan, Amir Khan is ran out there talking about possibly fighting Cotto. That would be interesting. Garcia, Danny Swift Garcia, and one of the Lamont Peterson. They're looking at coming on network TV. So it's some good stuff set up for boxing. But we're all of our attention is focused on that one fight getting done.
Can I ask you a question? So, how much time do you need? So, like, okay, so they're talking about May 2nd for Pacquiao and Mayweather. What's like the drop dead date? When do they have to like really start training and doing a promotional tour or whatever they need to do to make that fight happen by May 2nd? What's the deadline date?
Training camp, from my understanding, is about 8 weeks long. So we're looking at. I mean, the fight luckily is so big and so monumental that they don't need a lot of a big press.
Okay, good point.
They don't need a lot of that for this fight.
Right.
But I think they would. I think they would at least want to hit Chicago, New York, L.A. The big markets.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe even something in Toronto. They have a good fight game up in Canada right now. But I think so. 2 months before May, so we're probably getting up on that as we get to March 1st.
Okay, so March 1st is. So if we don't hear anything about the fight by March 1st, it's probably not going to happen.
Well, to follow your question up, I mean, for Mayweather, if you don't get him in there, what does he really do for May 2nd? I mean, who else can he shove in there? Because this is the only platform we got.
Exactly.
Except for casting our vote by not buying the fight. I'm not touching no other person that he brings in there. I'm not paying no money for it.
So you don't think you would go with you want to check out the Mayweather Khan fight?
Oh, I'll check that one. Oh, you called me. Yeah, I tuned in for that one.
Okay, so we go Mayweather Khan, but the Mayweather they were talking about Cotto, no dice,
no money,
none at all. We're not even going.
I'm not calling my cable service provider.
We're not watching that one, but I guess we agree. We'll watch the Mayweather Khan, but like you said, we don't want to spend a lot of time. But I mean, why don't Mayweather want to get rid of this guy? I mean, it seems to me, and I don't want to. I know this is the next show or the next show, but doesn't it seem like an easy fight for Mayweather?
It seems easy. It's disturbing, man. I guess I didn't even read the article because it was 50, but 50 got out there this week, got back in the boxing talk, saying that Floyd is scared to death of Manny. And like I said, I think you said it in our second show that by him not making this deal, it just allows this to linger, and it'd be good in a down period or right around March Madness and whatnot. I mean, it's just a shot for boxing and Floyd to be the face of boxing like he claims. Here's a chance to pull off the biggest event in boxing history. And so it just baffles me that he continues to manage this in a manner that we don't have an announcement.
Yeah, man, it's just blowing my mind. And if Mayweather is the biggest boss as he claims he is, and he's a boss of his movement and his entity, man, just get the fight done and let's be over with. I mean, it's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. Really quick, man, we don't even focus on the fringe sports. We don't want to offend anybody. Somebody might like hockey, or actually we do have some hockey people that they may get down with us. But Tiger this week has said that he's moving away from the game temporarily to get better. I thought it was his back, but his words were something like, "My game is not where it needs to be." And if we're at the beginning of the golf season and you come out and say your game is not where it needs to be, is it over for Tiger? Is it over?
And I don't understand why we're having this conversation because he's so still young in terms of golf for years, right?
39, I believe.
I mean, he still has at least another, let's say, 10 to 15 good years of playing, on the regular PGA tour.
Right.
So I don't know what happened to Tiger. I do know this. It just seems that not only is his confidence shaken, but I think that he's just not strong as he used to be. And I don't know what it was, but I know that it was a guy, and maybe I shouldn't even go down this road, but I know it was a guy he was affiliated with that did some kind of performance enhancing type
Right.
things.
And he's down in Miami or Florida,
Right.
along with A Rod.
Right. So
The connection has been thrown out there.
so it's just shocking to me that he could fall off so bad. And I'm not insinuating anything, but what I'm saying is this: how can you go from being in contention with every golfing match or golfing tournament that you start to now you're talking about the season is about to start up and you need to take a break? That's shocking to me.
It's shocking, I'm kind of. I mean, anything can happen, but I'm leaning towards him continuing to fade into his, fade at this point. And it's crazy because he had 8 top 10s in 2013, and then he led the tour with 5 Ws, which was 3 more than anybody else in the field just in 2013. So we were expecting him to rebound in 2014. That didn't happen, and it was because of obvious health issues. But now here we are in 2015, and it's almost like the Pacquiao Mayweather fight. I mean, we may not see anything this year, so I just thought I'd throw it out there real quick. I know between the both of us, we don't own one club, one club. So
Not at all.
we're not experts on this subject matter, but I just looking out there as the big hitters in sports. I could throw out one NASCAR thing. I see Jeff Gordon is stepping down after full time, at least full time after this year. So we're just trying to show that the fifth quarter covers a myriad of sports.
Yeah, we do. And the thing about it is, when we start accepting the phone calls, if you want to talk about NASCAR, if you want to talk about golf, hockey, we can talk about whatever you guys choose to call in about, because we're not just talking about football, NFL, NBA, whatever it may be. So just give us a chance, and like we always say, we're just going to give you an opportunity to get what's on your chest off. So if you want to talk about all types of sports, we're here for that.
Last thing I'm gonna say, I was talking to one gentleman who did check out the show last week, and he just kept referencing the 9 iron that Tiger was hit with before. I don't think it was Elise. I can't remember his ex-wife's name.
Ellen.
Ellen, something like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, he just kept. You don't even got to search for it, man. We getting ready to move on. But he just kept referencing, and when somebody tells you the joke like the fifth time and it ain't even funny anymore.
Right.
It was like the first time. I still see that 9 iron. That's what his problem is. But yeah, we can move on. You can find it if you find it. I can't. I don't want to leave her name out.
No, it's Ellen. It's Ellen.
Is it Ellen?
ELIN.
Elin.
Oh, it's Elin.
I think it's Elin.
There we go.
There we go. Anyway, we figured it out. Entertainment, man. I think this segment right here might really, this take right here, we've had 2 or 3 today, and I'm not sure. I'm really hoping the NBA one made it on to, we can get that posted. But since this one is going really well, I think we covered the NFL fairly well. But we're gonna get into a little entertainment, man, which is one of my favorites, and it's kind of coming at that dead time of the sports calendar. So that's kind of why we will creep over to the world of entertainment. You know, the Grammys were last week. Um, I didn't really have any arguments with who was selected for whatever. I'm not even certain what the Grammy categories are nowadays, and you know what the criteria is. So the album of the year, song of the year, whatever. I think all I'm gonna take away from it. I need to go back. I still have to check Annie Lennox's performance with Hozier. I like Hozier, and I just heard that Annie came back in and really turned out the show. I know there was the issue with Beyonce's choice of song. Obviously, there was Kanye. Anything evoke any, or provoke you to, or compel you to weigh in on anything, Jay?
Yeah, the Grammys, man, is not actually something that you set your DVR for as a reminder that when it comes on. So I didn't see much of the Grammys.
Right.
I just saw the maybe the last few minutes of it, and I saw the Beyonce performance. And when the Grammys actually happened, I had a big thing I was gonna talk about Beyonce, but I'm not gonna do that right now because I'm not going to crucify her on the choice of songs and what she did this year and what she did last year, because I'm gonna give her a pass because she's an entertainer. But I will say this: the Grammys need to start, giving a better platform for some of our African American performers. I know that the song that was sung by Beyonce was actually a song for that Lettucey performed on the soundtrack
For Selma.
for Selma. And I believe that, she should have been given the opportunity to perform that song and not Beyonce. I mean, I'm tired of of other genres of music, and they're not as known or is not as popular as some of their bigger stars, but they get the opportunity to perform, on the Grammy stage, and to get their name out of there. But when it comes to some of your minority performers, more importantly, African Americans, they're not given that same opportunity.
I agree with that. And Lettucey is a hell of a vocalist, hell of a performer, and she's more there pushing her art and her ability and her vocal talent. And so it would have been nice. I mean, I bought a couple Lettucey records. I think I'm going to see her in April.
Good stuff.
I want to say I'm gonna go see her live over in Indianapolis.
Good.
So I wouldn't have had a problem with that. I just really didn't understand Beyonce's performance or her inclusion. I mean, I know it had people tuning in to the end of the show because it's Beyonce, but I guess the silver lining in it is that this pretty good song or this great song, however you feel about it, I guess it was performed for the masses, and now you can go back and either listen to Lettucey's version or the soundtrack itself, or you could YouTube Beyonce's performance. I just want to say I'm gonna move along to Mr. West. I was stuck on what a real artist is, which was what he referenced that Beck wasn't a real artist. And I'm with 98% of the other people that either do talk shows, podcasts, or radio shows and whatnot. I haven't heard Beck's album, but me and Jay, we haven't, just in talking about it, we haven't heard Beyonce's album. So I'm not the one to speak on it, but I think Kanye is just moved over into a spot where he's very disrespectful. He was one of the guys that had some sneakers that released today, and I'm just like, you want to be considered an artist, and you want people to love you and respect your work, and then you go out here and dump on Beck, who, despite whether or not he's hip or real or hot, he put his project out there, and as a reward, people checked it out, and he got an award for it. So I just think I will say I don't know if it was Browner. One of the NFL guys came out and really was like somebody. He said he wishes he was Taylor Swift or Beck, so that if Kanye walked up on him, he would have dealt with it. And I just thought that was awesome that somebody speaks out on it how it really needs to be spoken about.
And the thing about the Kanye West deal with Beck winning the award, I'm gonna go with 50 Cent on this one. And I think like, dang, Jay, 50 Cent. Oh, why you going with his opinion? But I'm gonna go with
It's
50
not
Cent.
normal,
But 50 Cent said something to me that, well, said something, about what the happened that kind of stuck home with me. He said, Kanye West talking about, if it, if Beyonce's not didn't win the award, it's not putting a real big emphasis on real artistry. But I did not know this. 50 Cent said that Beck not only wrote his whole album, he produced it.
right?
Am I correct?
Right.
Then 50 Cent also said that Beyonce had 10 to 12 writers and producers on her album alone.
Right.
So I'm not a musician and I'm not no expert on any kind of music, but I do know this. I know if you take the time to perfect your craft and to write an entire album or a majority of your album and produce a majority of your album, I think that is like phenomenal, and I think that's to be rewarded.
Great point.
So I'm gonna go with 50 Cent on that one. So I think we need to stop being as friends and Kanye. I mean, what's he gonna say? He was drunk this time again. I don't know what he's gonna say, but I will say this, Kanye, if you're listening, and I know he's like, dude, I don't even care about you, Jay. Quit supporting and riding someone's coattails like Beyonce and Jay-Z. They didn't even come to your wedding, dude.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They didn't think enough to come to your so-called total bliss or love at first sight wedding that you and Miss Kim Kardashian, actually took place between the two of you. So you sit up here talking about Beyonce should win this and that. Man, I don't think you're doing it for Beyonce. I think you're doing it for your own buzz and for your own, notoriety. So, man, grow up. You have a lot of talent, and there's other things you should worry about than who should win an award.
And quit crying.
Right.
Just quit crying. Go ahead, record. Do your artistic stuff. Make your songs with Sir Paul McCartney and Rihanna and all of that stuff. Just do the best you and just shut up for a minute.
Bingo.
I'm not gonna get into the sneakers and whether or not I like his boots and all that. We don't have time for that today. But for real, I just think, like you say, Beyonce did not hire him to defend her, and I really just think, like I said, you never get anywhere in life by tearing down others to live either, argue your point or argue on your own behalf. You don't do that by tearing down others. So I just thought it was unfortunate. Beck, he's a pretty cool guy to me. I mean, I haven't heard a lot of his work since Loser, but I respect what he does, all the instruments that he plays. Another big thing this week, and I think you mentioned something about the ratings. I wasn't aware of the ratings, but I guess Empire is taking over, TV.
Yeah, man. And the thing about Empire, and it's just the last little nugget that I put in here was what makes it so huge. I mean, I checked out a little bit of it the other night, and I know I'm gonna always go with this. The acting in it is superb. I think that
It's coming along, isn't it?
they're believable, man. They're really making me believe that this could really happen, even though I know it can't. But it's very believable, man, and they're on point, and the chemistry on there is timely, and whether it's good or bad chemistry, but it's there, and I see that why people are tuning in, but I just would like to. I need to break down and see like who's actually watching the show, like the age difference and that of that nature.
My mother-in-law actually got my wife to check it this morning. My wife actually turned over and brought it up on demand,
Okay.
and I was like, I heard it going off. This is 8:30 in the morning on a Saturday,
Okay.
so I'm like, what the heck? She's like, my mama said.
My mama
And
said.
right. I was like, so your husband was checking out the show and you told all you do is complain to me, but your mother has co-signed for it, and now you're giving it a shot. So I'm just gonna say, man, I think they're telling a. I think one thing that it's doing, and I actually